In 1999, one singular character changed the course of film history and made huge breakthroughs in the world of computer-generated imagery. This one character pioneered new motion capture technology that would pave the way for amazing performances in characters such as Gollum in The Lord of the Rings, Thanos in the Avengers films, the Na'vi in James Cameron's Avatar, and Caesar in the Planet of the Apes films. Without this character, the film landscape we live in today would be completely different. That character was none other than the much maligned and irritating Jar Jar Binks from George Lucas's Star Wars The Phantom Menace. Jar Jar was one of the first fully computer animated main characters integrated with actual actors in a film. Actor Ahmed Best was one of the first actors to use motion capture technology, and despite what you may say about Jar Jar, the technology used was groundbreaking and completely revolutionized filmmaking as we know it. Ever since, technology has gone from strength to strength, with fully computer animated characters becoming commonplace. But this raises the question, have we gone too far? Increasingly in the last few years, Hollywood has been accused of stepping into the uncanny valley. Drawing on theories of the uncanny by Sigmund Freud, the uncanny valley refers to the uncomfortable emotional response when something robotic takes on human qualities. In film, this can refer to the digital altering or complete creation of human characters through the use of CGI. How characters like Thanos and Gollum escape the uncanny valley is that they are not rendered as human. They may possess human qualities, but they are removed from the realm of reality and our normal world that we do not have a reference point to compare them to. Human characters, however, may look and sound human, but there's something off about them, invoking an uncomfortable response in audiences. The technology has come a long way. For example, the Marvel movies have shown what digital technology is capable of, de-aging, digitally altering, and creating characters. Samuel L. Jackson was completely seamlessly de-aged for his performance in Captain Marvel. But in some cases, this technology still is not at the level it needs to be for the lofty aspirations of Hollywood, and this leads to many creepy examples of the uncanny valley. A very recent example of this would be Luke Skywalker in the Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. A digitally de-aged Mark Hamill appeared on screen rendered to look like the actor as he was in the 80s. However, immediately audiences noticed that something was off. The skin is too smooth, the hair lacks texture, and the eyes are dark and lifeless. Audiences were completely taken out of the show and instead creeped out by this new addition. Star Wars is a serial offender when it comes to the uncanny valley. In 2016's Rogue One, actor Peter Cushing was raised from the dead using archive footage, digital technology, and a stand-in. His character Grand Moff Tarkin was presented as human, but once again, something was off and audiences noticed immediately. This also raises a moral quandary. Should we use technology to revive dead actors? Is this digital grave robbing acceptable? Although the estates of these actors have granted permission, does this go against the legacy of these actors, and would they be happy with how they are being represented? If you look at Blade Runner 2049, for example, actress Sean Young was unhappy with her representation in the film, which used digital de-aging to make her young again. She was alive at the time to raise her concerns, so what about a long-dead actor who cannot give their input? A film currently in production plans to raise the 60s heartthrob James Dean from the dead, using technology to craft a completely new performance that will forever go on to the filmography of this iconic actor. But he had absolutely no say in it. As more and more actors are having their likenesses scanned for promotional material, video games and merchandising, laws will have to be put in place to protect these actors and rules will need to be clearly defined. Overall, while the technology is constantly improving, it begs the question, can we avoid the uncanny valley, or do we just need to get used to it? To paraphrase Jurassic Park, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because the technology is there does not mean it will always yield the best results, and Hollywood needs to not rely on these effects, not only because they veer into the uncanny valley, but because they raise moral questions as well. It leaves me wondering, when is enough enough? In the 22 years since Jar Jar Binks exploded onto our screens, cinema has come a long way, so it'll be interesting to see how these conversations will have developed in the next 22 years.